It's been a long 4 days of StarCraft, but tragically, all good things must come to an end, and it is time for the end of Group D for Delightful, because that's what it's been, hanging out with you and casting with Cats. I'm Nathanius, and that's Cats.
Yeah.
Hi. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing okay. I just got called old by the teenager, which I'm okay with.
Oh.
But then Nate makes a comment on the Jets. I say, Benny and the Jets? Nate goes, we're too separated by time. You too, huh?
Well, I didn't say I had good taste either, so
Yeah,
I'm sure I could know about things that happened before
like
me.
I'm just getting stabbed all over the place here. All right, so game 1 will be played between Silky and Scarlett on New Repugnancy. Silky has a superb ZvZ, by the way. ZvZ can be a volatile-ish matchup. It is one of my favorite matchups to watch.
You are one of the only people alive who will ever say that. Congratulations.
Well, what I love about ZvZ is that. Okay, well let's introduce the players.
In the northeast, we have the red Zerg player. She is Scarlett.
As bad as I am at directions, I'm gonna assume the opposite of northeast is southwest. Thus, this must be in the southwest. Silky. Yeah, I am probably the worst at directions. Not great with names either.
Really?
Yeah, it's the age, man. So, New Repugnancy.
No! No!
Just kidding, buddy. So, New Repugnancy, gonna be a fun map. Silky not going for the hatch first, it seems like. So he's gonna be. Did he go 12 pool actually?
It was a pretty fast pool.
Yeah, it looks it. Yeah, that's pretty much a 12 pool. So we'll see what he decides to do here. He'll make about 10 links. You know what I really like is when people make like 12 links, because Aurora makes 10 links, so you can kind of get away with killing hatcheries when you make 12 links. And there is much micro to be found and much opportunity to be found with this sort of opener. As much as I wanted to talk about ZvZ as a matchup, the action.
Your analysis with bated breath, Paolo.
Yeah, well, the action does not await for my pre-game analysis, as usually there's a little bit more dead time in between action starting, but not this time around. Now
we have to actually talk about the game this time?
We must.
Damn.
And so, there is no gas for Silky, so this is not an all-in by any means. What he's gonna look to do with this is apply pressure onto the hatchery, very sloppy with those links already. And this hatchery is gonna be taking damage, so Scarlett's gonna have to pull some drones in order to answer this. Silky actually making a lot extra links, so he's gonna be looking for aggression very hard here. I would like it if he didn't use all of the Zerglings. This is sloppy by Scarlett as well, but he doesn't need to take all of the Zerglings off to answer those drones. He could have left at least like 2 to 3, maybe 4 links attacking the entire time, especially because he's committing so very much to this link aggression in the back. What was he, or am I crazy? I guess not. Oh, that was Scarlett that was making links. Yes, of course.
Back on the drones.
Okay, so yeah, not much to be found here. He does find a couple of drones, so not the worst thing in the world for him. And again, that wasn't an attack that was ever gonna find anything other than maybe the hatchery if he was very lucky, or if Scarlett was a little bit careless with when she pulled those drones. So now Scarlett is going to make links to match, and if you look at the worker tab, it's actually Silky ahead, Nathaniel. And that is because he is able to go gasless off of this. This type of opener will offer you a lot of flexibility in terms of, or not so much flexibility, but a big heads up in terms of what your opponent's doing, and then you will get to be the person to react. I really like 12 pulls. Right? They kind of set it up nice.
Does he have what he needs to defend against a counter all-in from Sasha, though?
That comes down to the wall-off. Yeah, Sasha is not messing around this time around. There is the attempt at a wall-off from Silky. We'll see if he's able to finish it. Right now, he will need an additional two buildings, potentially, though, as he is not in the best position ever. This Overlord, however, from Silky is in a very good position. Both of those Overlords, actually. So we'll see him drop an extra big wall-off. Again, that's a little bit of an issue that that first Evo Chamber wasn't exactly positioned so that he could wall off with less items, and that makes it so that this particular Evo Chamber is very fragile because it has so much surface area.
Scarlett starting to slip through. Kills one of the queens, and she's in.
Yeah, a little bit late of a drone pull. I would love a drone drill onto the third, if possible, but it will not end up happening for the moment. Scarlett finding a lot of damage with this. Will somewhat equalize things. This Evo Chamber could have been
trying to block with
perhaps.
the lings here. That's cute.
Yeah, that's not too bad. And the idea is the Queen is outputting damage behind, so it should help. But Scarlett breaking through still. And now she will gain somewhat of a lead. She has a tech lead, she has map control, and she is only now trailing a couple of workers behind.
Yeah, all right, so not too bad there. It's going to clean up a few of the lings, and looks like she's going to try and steal away this Roach Warren.
Yeah.
She turns around.
Yeah, the Roach is a little bit too big of a threat. She, you know, if you're not going to kill it, then you should just back. Now with additional links, she might feel like she can kill it. This Roach not quite doing the trick there.
Ooh, that's a wall.
Yeah, but that's a little bit too fast of a morph onto that Ravager. It had a lot more HP to leverage, and you know, if that Roach had been attacking the entire time, I'm not so sure that the Roach Warren dies. If that Ravager had been attacking the entire time, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a bad morph, I'm pretty sure, just cost him that Roach Warren. If he doesn't morph that, then you have an extra Roach attacking. But what if the Roach dies? Well, you wait until the last possible second, because those things have like 1,000,000 armor. Lings do no damage to it, okay? So if you wait until your Ravager or your Roach has like 10 HP instead of, or 5, I don't know.
Yeah,
however,
he
however
did
much
it at like
had,
30 or 40 health.
Yeah, that's
could have taken
way
a
too
few
early.
more hits. Could have gotten another attack or two off, considering the choke point. It's not like the Roach was getting surrounded.
Yeah, so that Roach Warren was essentially sacrificed here in an oversight by Silky. The third base will be going down now. So yeah, Scarlett with a decent lead at the moment. Again, map control, and she has speed. And what I love about ZvZ is this, Nate. It's that the advantages are very clear. I like to think of StarCraft, and maybe it's the wrong time to say this, as it is the last day, last match. This is the kind of thing that I would have liked to say at the very start, but StarCraft is a game that's played on, in my view, on 3 fronts. And the 3 fronts would be economy, tech, and army, right?
Right.
So on those 3 fronts, I think that Zerg versus Zerg is the matchup where the advantages are clearest, and thus it's easiest, I think, to explain and to see who has what lead and how they are looking to leverage it. So right now, clear advantage in terms of tech was going to Scarlett with that link speed. Now Silky is cutting some corners in that regard by completely skipping link speed and going straight for the Roaches, as well as the +1 attack. But Scarlett has had map control, which she has used to further her economy by taking that earlier third. So Scarlett's still trading a little bit far behind, in workers, and this is a little bit uncharacteristic, in my opinion.
Silky, does he think he's about to get all in? He drops 3 spines, and he's got the +1 still. He's worried about an attack, I guess?
Yeah, it's not too crazy to worry about an attack, as Scarlett does have quite a few Roaches here.
I just feel like we don't see that many spines get thrown down at a timing like this. Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy, but this is a lot more Roaches than he has, right? So we were talking about the advantages. The reason Scarlett was trailing behind in economy is because she made this many Roaches. So if Silky is able to equalize here, he will have regained the economic lead. We'll see if he is. I think with the spines he will be fine.
He's got a good arc on the top of the ramp.
Yeah, you don't want to go down the ramp though, especially if you've already determined that your advantage lies in the economy at this point. And it should, given that Scarlett made as many units as she made, and he needs to just pull back to the spine if he thinks he's gonna lose her from the start, even, right? It's on Scarlett to do something. Silky producing 6 Roaches that are not really gonna do anything, whereas Scarlett made drones, so the economic lead is gonna shift heavily now to the side of Scarlett.
So just gonna boil down to if Silky wants to try and make a move soon, then, you imagine? Or he's got the +1 lead, but there is a Spire on the way.
Yes, indeed. So Silky is leaning heavily now on the tech lead, right? So we've already seen so many switches of these leads. A game of StarCraft is won when you attain all 3, or when your opponent gives up, because it's inevitable that you will get all 3. So we'll see what happens here. The Spire is definitely threatening, but Silky is trailing behind in economy, like I said. So Scarlett is probably, yeah, she's already dropped that 4th actually. So she's going to be looking to saturate that. Scouts the Spire as well. So now Scarlett's got to say, okay, I hold the economic lead now. And decide whether she wants to push her army lead, which she's not, or keep the economic lead by virtue of becoming the defender. And she's going to do that by dropping the Hydra then and producing additional drones even to further that lead and to account for potential spores and whatnot that she will need for the Mutas. Now, Mutas are not fighting units, Mr. Nathaniel. They are harassing units. So
yes.
If Scarlett is safe enough and manages to accrue an army lead after having the economic lead for long enough, then she will be able to push out with a giant army and the Mutas will be useless. So I love what Silky's doing this. In knowing all that, he has made no Mutas whatsoever, I believe.
Nope.
Wonderful play, in my opinion, because Scarlett has to account for the potential. And, or does she? Has she not? She has not, and that is just
weird game.
Mind-blowingly good from her. To, you know, she's continued to check every, you know, everything that's there to be checked. Needless to say, I keep her in check. And yeah, this is pretty cool.
All right, good pressure. Silky coming up now. That Overseer tagging along the army very annoyingly. Makes it very hard to do anything without being spotted. Some roaches do split off to the east base. Got to be careful with balancing out how many of them are going to move out. Forces the ramp, Silky does. Some of those biles do hit the roaches, but the Hydra's mixed in. Once that range upgrade kicks in, they're going to add a lot of DPS to this force.
Yeah, and the idea here by Silky was simply, okay, you must have prepared for Mutas, so might have overdroned, might have made spore crawlers, might have made extra Hydras, which don't, in my opinion, don't fare particularly well against the likes of Ravagers, right? For similar cost, I think that Ravagers are a little bit better in the straight-up engagement, and there's also the investment potentially into the Hydra than to account for the Mutas. So both players now are going to be transitioning into Lurkers to fight on the ground, obviously, for that tech and army advantage.
Yeah, then the Hive becomes big, right, for adaptive talons on the Lurkers, so that
Yes,
they can burrow
indeed.
quickly.
Yes, indeed, and there's also going to be Vipers being added eventually, which are, you know, the go-to unit in order to deconstruct those Lurker sieges and Lurker defenses, if you will. So it's gonna become a pick-off game should no player want to attack into each other. Both players pretty much dead even in terms of economy. They were exactly at 16, now Silky going to 65, Scarlett going to 63. So there's very little room to grow an army advantage into a victory here. Whereas if a player is lagging behind enough in economy, once the other player becomes maxed, they have a window where they can trade very efficiently, because, you know, you're fighting same units against same units a lot of the time, and that opens up another possibility, another win condition. Scarlett pushing forward very boldly here. Yeah,
trying to jump on top of this army. A few of the biles did hit the Hydras, but she was showing no fear. Bit of reckless abandon, though. Coming up this ramp, there are going to be...
Ooh.
Wow, she eats some serious biles, but also the spine crawlers are going to be able to contribute in a big way. Army supply is still very close. Does look like she's gaining some ground, but the Lurkers are here.
Lurkers are here indeed. So stays a little bit too long there in order to try and get some biles onto those Lurkers. Watch, oh, beautiful moves by Silky here. And that's part of why Scarlett was able to push onto an army that was pretty much, or should have been pretty much the same size as far as like the army supply was concerned. It's because some of Silky's army was doing exactly what it's doing. Now, the reason for the move from Scarlett was to gain map control, if she could, because Lurkers are such positional units that if you can push out onto an undefended location uncontested and burrow, then they become incredibly strong, much like Silky just showed by using them defensively. Only, you know, if you're the offensive player, then that base is forfeit, essentially.
10 Lurkers being added by Scarlett.
20 drones have gone down, though.
Yeah.
So Silky doing a good job of that, but Scarlett catching back up right away.
And she's got her Hive coming in. Did Silky get his yet? No.
10,000 resources lost exactly from Scarlett, by the way, so that's a pretty cool number.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you'd think that's kind of hard to do, actually, right?
Yep. Very, very difficult thing to do. So some Lurkers, so those roaches are going to be forfeit, thrown down. Kill those Hydras on the way there if you can. Yes, sir. Almost gets one.
Oh, almost got deleted by that spine crawler.
Yeah, and now Scarlett with a clear advantage. She had a little bit of a lead in terms of army that now she is using to both get map control and tech up. Silky has lurkers defensively, Scarlett has lurkers offensively. The important thing for here is the positioning, and Scarlett is going to find a very good position potentially here, but Silky burrows first. And so Scarlett will be forced onto the retreat.
It is hard to make it happen. All right, so we have the tunneling clause for the roaches for Silky on the way.
Oh, but there's an overseer for Silky, whereas there's not one for Scarlett. Biles, though.
Biles onto those, and that's one of the reasons why you need this upgrade. So it did just start. So the Hive is quite a bit later for Silky.
Oh, yes.
And Scarlett has her adaptive talons on the way, which
as well as 3-3 too.
Yep, and the 3-3. That upgrade for lurkers makes them burrow pretty much instantly. It's extremely powerful and important for repositioning.
Yeah, she also has map control, so I like what Silky's trying to do here, getting the tunneling claws as well as burrow. He needs to make something happen on the side of the map of Scarlett. I would have also liked it if he went for something like a Nidus, but this could work in terms of getting him back into this game, because at the moment he has lost a lot of ground, literally.
Yep, getting pushed up towards the little space between the natural and the third. Scarlett would love to wedge herself in between the bases and cut off the reinforcement paths.
She would indeed, and that's the position exactly that she's looking to contest. Looking for those lurkers as she pushes up with her army. No Vipers just yet being added, and again, that would be the way that, like, imagine a couple of Vipers here for Scarlett. He could start pulling those lurkers. And she has had that Hive, so that there we go. 3 Vipers in production now. So that is a wonderful prediction by me. And what are we going to see next, Nate?
A Nidus. There's going to be a Nidus network and a ton of spines put up by Scarlett, so she's thinking very defensively now.
As she should. Also tunneling claws for Scarlett. Both players are looking for openings here. Silky hard-pressed to find them as he is currently contained in his base. There is not much of an upwards transition from this in terms of tech. It's just Vipers and Lurkers for the most part. And that is because, you know, like, I guess you could go something like Ultra and Mass Queen and plow through, but that is very difficult of a transition.
Nidus is on the way in the main, by the way.
Entirely different set of upgrades, and if this Nidus goes off, this could, oh, and it will go off. I would love to see Silky move onto that ramp to block reinforcements from Scarlett. I don't want to see there. Ooh, nice. Lurkers to the ramp, please. Nope. Okay, so the Lurker then will fall. Vipers would help to deconstruct this push anyway. So, oh, look at this. Very, very cute. But the Overseers will spot it. Now, not really bringing enough army or holding the choke enough to threaten, but with those Vipers, that was always going to be an issue. Very nice blinding clouds as Silky gets Vipers of his own. He will be able to break the push.
Pretty good Biles, at least, on the way out.
Oh, yes, indeed. And there is another Nidus now. And this is exactly what he needed to do. Look at how much space he has gained by trying to be aggressive on the side of Scarlett, right? Scarlett was containing Silky very hard. Now, Silky has found some breathing room, but still Scarlett is the stronger presence on the map. Very, very powerful right now. Very powerful.
Yes. Did something... Oh, did he get her lurker done? He did. Okay. So Scarlett cannot build lurkers at the moment.
Not for the time being.
Good pick off with the Nidus.
And that's perfect. Now, Hydralisks. The reason Scarlett's going for Hydralisks is because the pick-off game is starting. So you can see that there's a transition going on from Roaches to Hydras. It's not that Hydras beat Roaches, it's that now you have Vipers. So you're not really looking to directly engage. Hydras are going to be the unit that you choose to kill anything that gets abducted into it because they output more damage, and you're going to be abducting one unit at a time, as well as have greater range than the Roach, so will, you know, accomplish their job a lot better. Nice job by Silky here, sacrificing some of those disposable units at the moment. They want to be replaced.
Good use of the Roaches. Slips in with that burrow move. He's going to kill the Queen, kill 2 spines. We see Vipers abducting each other.
Always nice.
It's a funny looking animation.
Indeed. It's a funny looking anime. Almost. And we're going to see Silky trying to get his next base situated. He is still at a disadvantage, but this has been a great game so far. A very well fought game, and both players are doing the proper things that they need to be doing for the most part, in my opinion. So there's going to be a little bit of a push. Armies are continuing to mirror each other because, you know,
it's a good army.
Yep.
That's what you want. The Adaptive Talons is almost ready for Silky, so he's going to be able to get those super fast Lurker Burrows rolling.
Super fast. Super fast.
Yeah.
So let's see. Silky finally catching up in terms of
Good
upgrades
pulls.
as well. Very good pulls by Scarlett. So right now it's both a game of efficiency and economy, right? Like, so efficiency will be related to the army trades, and Scarlett is winning on that regard. Economy
grabbing
will
a
be related
lot.
to who's mining more, and Scarlett is winning on that regard.
She grabbed a lot with those Vipers. Still quite a
Sure
few.
has.
Oh, goodness. Well, a few of her Lurkers are going to
Oh.
get pulled in.
Yeah.
Two of them almost slip out.
They almost did indeed. That would have been a very sad sight. However, she has continued to find a space on the map with this push that she can do things like this, shave a few units off, and try to threaten some bases while the rest of her army just contains. Miss Burrow, thereby Scarlett, will condemn many of her Hydralisks.
Shame.
Shame indeed.
Now that one Lurker getting some
Doing what
work
it do.
done. Oh, wow, that's awkward.
Yeah, this Viper's also...
Lining
Oh, okay. Very nice.
1v1 me, bruh. There you go. That Lurker's actually getting kills. Those Hydras are doing a little bit of work for
Yeah, I
how
think
few
we're-
units.
We're nearing the end at this point, as Silky has not been trading efficiently for the last little while, and Scarlett has an overwhelming force. So
Her
GG is
upgrade
cold.
lead, by the way, that entire time when she got that 3-3 very early,
Mhm.
Silky, he was 2-2 all game. Never
Yes,
finished plus
indeed.
3 attack. Never even finished his plus 3 attack. So very well done there
Very, very good.
by Scarlett.
Yep, and yeah, I mean, capitalizing on many of her advantages, I really enjoyed that game.
Yep.
It was consistent, both players doing the things that they felt like they needed to do. Difficult to fault either one of them. It was a very good game of StarCraft, I think.
Yes, very good indeed. Nice ZvZs to end our Group D with. Anything-
Do you like CVC yet?
I like listening to you talk about ZvZ.
Oh, you're much too nice.
I'm just going to shout when Biles land. Actually, I can't shout. I'm exhausted.
They call me the
but-
king of biles, and it's not just because I have acid reflux, Nate.
Nice. We're just waiting for the next map. It's been a really long 4 days.
Yes, indeed.
This is the longest show we've had
Yes.
before.
I mean, we could have almost predicted that. It was the closest
That's
groups,
true.
the
That's true.
strongest players were all playing today.
I also didn't think we'd get a 50-minute TVZ with the Marine
it was
Lord
fun.
Cyril
It was
game.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that game was crazy.
The ending, though, it was heartbreaking.
I have...
Ego crushing.
There are some amazing complaints people make about other people complaining, but they've reached like full-on circle of life in the Reddit thread around the clip of the end of that game.
Oh, really?
Just the endless amount of... It's like that cycle where people are like, oh yeah, well, you know, it's going to be fixed. And then people are like, this is absurd. And people are like, what do you mean it's absurd? And someone's like, well, it's going to be... And it's just an endless circle of like, this is BS. And then someone's like, it's getting fixed. Someone's like, I don't care, it's still BS. I'm like, okay, what are you mad about? There's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, gotta get those wines in while you can.
Just sometimes it's like overwhelmingly positive or overwhelmingly negative. But it's
this
like
is pretty well
it's
balanced.
just like a full on like people whining and people hating on the whiners, like in
That
a
is so funny.
great, yeah, straight up felt like Simba walking into that.
Love it. And yeah, perhaps potentially the last map here of the day. and
be.
actual day of- yeah, this could
Could be the last WCS America. If you think about it, this is the final best of 3 for WCS Challenger round of 16 for the whole year.
That is. yeah,
Unless we
wow.
have another Challenger season I don't know about, but yeah, how about that?
Yeah, I mean, is there usually a challenger after BlizzCon, post BlizzCon?
Nope.
No, sometimes there's an event, but not quite challenger.
Yeah,
so
they wouldn't.
this
They
is-
wouldn't. Yeah, it wouldn't be an event that would call for a
yeah.
challenger.
The playoffs, though, Nate, they're not too far away.
They're
A
not.
couple of weeks away, and that should be a great deal of fun. So I hope everyone watching will join us for that as well.
Yeah, there's lots of great StarCraft. We got saw all the other StarCraft dudes tweeting about their travels over to Seoul now for GSL versus the World.
Yes, of
He's
course.
got Maynard. Actually, I think the tournament's in like a week, but he's leaving now because that's how long it takes to get there from Australia.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. It was Actually, Jenna Bain was trying to get as far as possible as she could, and she had to go to Australia from Korea. So you're actually not too far removed from reality.
Yeah. I still haven't been to Australia or Seoul. One day.
Me neither, actually.
One
Maybe
day.
we'll go together, Nate.
You've never been to Seoul?
I have never been to Seoul, no.
We gotta go together then.
Hells yeah.
Sounds like a good time.
Indeed. I am a huge fan of Korean food, so... This is ZvZ as standard as it gets.
Honestly, I just really need another tasteless hug. That's the real truth.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Well, we'll see him
Some
soon.
people go to get a morning coffee. I would just go by Nick's place and be like, I need a hug just to start my day. Just need that warmth, that energy.
Yeah, he really has an amazing energy. So we have, the most standard ZvZ openers ever. That's a hatch gas pool. And
Nothing stands out here?
nothing stands out at all. There's just going to be probably a couple of links made, a third taken by both players. Then, you know, sometimes a player makes 6 links, sometimes a player makes 2 links. If this happens, then the player with 2 links might be in a little bit of trouble, might have to make links. You know, it's all about like a little bit of a gamble here and there. Like, do you make 2 links or 4 links or 6 links? But it's nothing that will break the game or end right away, unless one of the players decides to go hyper aggressive on the back of this speed, which we'll find out soon as the first larva injects pop out. We'll see if those are drones for both players or if one player decides to make a mini circling.
All right. All things are possible here in the wonderful world of StarCraft. Baneling Nest is the first real divergence of any kind. Coming out for Silky first, but as you mentioned, it can also just be defensive. Sasha is going to grab her Roach Warren.
Yeah, so Sasha will be skipping the Baneling Nest, I believe, altogether, right?
Looks like it.
So, so
That's a bit risky, no?
yes, indeed. If Silky had gone for the Link Flood that we were talking about, then he at least would have gotten a hatch cancel off of this. So a tiny bit risky from Scarlett for sure. But if she is able to cut down on the Baneling Nest completely and then Silky makes his Baneling Nest, which she did, then she will get away with a faster tech, faster upgrade, and so on and so forth.
Nice.
So...
Ling's gonna put on that little bit of not even real pressure. There are some more coming out for Scarlett, but Silky doesn't really have too much to worry about. I guess, what is this, just a gut check from Scarlett to make sure Silky's not being too greedy? Or is she trying to force a reaction out of him? Because okay, I mean, he starts his lair, but I was gonna say, he could try to get out like Roaches and Banelings from this point.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a gut check. It is links that she made in case there was a Link Flood, so that if there was a Link Flood, she had some base number of links and didn't just straight up die. But if it was a Link Flood, it would have been very, very difficult for her to hold with this low of a base of units, at least as far as her third is concerned. So we see the links now of Silky that he just made, crossing the map. Workers are dead even, so both players pretty much dead even, except for that Scarlett has had a little bit more luck squeezing out things, right? She cut down the Baneling Nest, for starters. She squeezed in a couple more drones earlier, whereas Silky made a couple more links, and that all has served to amount to a very fast lair, whereas Silky is just finishing his. So Scarlett will have a little bit of a timing with +1 and Roach speed before Silky has it.
So now Scarlett does lose 2 queens to the Zerglings that came by from Silky, so a little bit of pressure done. That I mean, Scarlett just has the 1 queen at the moment. Do you think that takes away her ability to get aggressive if she doesn't have that larva?
I think that's a great point to make. So we'll see if Silky looks to capitalize on that, but at the same time his upgrades and Roach speed are behind. So if Scarlett was looking to get aggressive, it's going to be definitely a little bit more difficult. Silky will be aware of this. Scarlett now remaking both of those queens. Depends. I didn't see if she injected before dying.
No, the main. She didn't inject the main lair, at least. Okay. I saw the lair did not get injected. Okay, because the inject cycle is pretty similar to the queen build time, actually. So if she injected right before, then all that's lost is minerals. But yeah, if she missed an inject on the main, that might become a little bit problematic, and she might be looking for an earlier 4th than normal, perhaps. Okay, she's got a Spire coming in, something that Scarlett is definitely known for in ZvZ.
Oh, she is so good. Man, back in my day, the Koreans used to fear Scarlett for her Muta play, to the point where, you know, like it was like when Linok was like one of the best Zerg players, right, is when I'm talking. Not that he's bad now, but he was like Linok, right? It was like, whoa. And,
when he was good, yeah.
Yeah, and when I
I'll
talked to
say.
him, he would say, you know, like, Scarlett is the one Zerg that I will not play straight up against, and this was in the Mutaling Bane era. She was just way too good at it, to the point where Koreans would just not play the style against her.
Her Muta control was always some of the best highlights that we had from her earlier days. And even still, she'll be the player to try and bust them out. Lo and behold, we have Mutalisks on the way.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. Does Silky know if there is Mutas on the way?
Network. Ooh.
Oh, this is nifty, nifty, nifty.
He hasn't seen the Spire.
Yeah, so what Scarlett is looking to do is potentially to provide the vision from the Mutas and then engage with Roaches. She's still producing very many Mutas. Silky kind of has a good base to work off of because he was going for a blind Hydra then. Now, that's not especially good if you are to sit back, but if you pushed fast enough that the Mutas aren't doing, you know, a lot of damage, or that the Mutas aren't yet on your side of the map, which is no longer the case, then the Hydras can be pretty deadly. With that said, the Mutas are on his side of the map. I'm not sure that this is enough Roaches.
Oh, it's a
for Silky.
reinforcement Nidus.
I love it.
Like for Scarlett, she's decided not to go straight to the main. Meanwhile, the Mutalisks being annoying in the natural.
Very much so. The Hydras, though, by Silky pulled back, so a good job by him identifying where the threats lie. And that Nidus is ambitious.
Yeah, that's it's going to be a
good
no
work, though.
It could finish.
She is just that good.
He's clicking on it though. It's dead.
It's dead indeed.
Round two.
Yeah, but soaks up some damage there from the rest of the units. Now this is, I think this is good for Silky. I'm not sure what he's, yeah, Scarlett thinks it is. Silky not so much. So yeah, Silky now pushing forward. Now Scarlett is okay with this Roaches and the Nidus coming up. She could end the game right here, right now. Nope, just one single roach.
One roach in the worm?
Okay.
There we go. Come on, you can get a few more out.
I mean,
Scarlett.
those Niduses did not pay for themselves, but she has, okay, there we go.
There.
She has a great advantage right now in terms of supply. So. And the Mutas are still doing a lot of damage back at the natural base, as the Hydras had to be pulled to defend against this engagement. Silky now going for the Lurker then, and is going to look to secure 3 base advantage, but Scarlett on the backside of this has been securing the economic lead by virtue of taking another base. And she just smells, I think she's tired and just wants to win the game, because honestly right now, you just saturate your base, make sure you win. So she was just like, I'm just gonna, you know.
GG, well played. Scarlett topples Silky, and she'll make it out of today's group in second place. Honestly, big story for me out of this group, Puck.
Yes, indeed.
Puck played very, very well in today's group, and he's a player that, I mean, you and I were both good friends with him.
Yeah.
I love seeing Puck succeed. I love seeing him do well. More often than not, he's a pretty 50-50 player. He's very on and very off. Like,
yeah.
Just not super consistent. So
he's an emotional player as well, so
yeah.
that also plays into it. Like he's very volatile, like in terms of like how he's feeling throughout a month. He might play a lot and do really well.
Right.
He's volatile in the fact that he's creative. So it's like, is he developing strategies right now, or is he confident? He's just all kinds of volatile. I could go on for hours, but yeah, now today.
We know Puck, and I just wanted to give him another shout out because I thought he played really good, clean games today too.
Yes.
Not even that weird, but carved out himself out of some weird positions too. We'll take one more look at the schedule that we had for today, as that was our last match of the round of 16. Scarlett defeats Silky 2-0 after Puck beat Silky and her to get out in first. So you'll be seeing more of Puck and Scarlett come the end of the month. We're going to have about a 10-11 day break before we come back for our WCS Challenger Finals. Of course, a lot of this is feeding into WCS Montreal. You should check that out, or WCS Fall, I guess, is the medical term for it. And that's going to be early, I think the first big weekend for September. So it's all building up to that. We got GSL versus the World coming up. It's been awesome to have you here, Cats. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our broadcast over the last few days. We will be back soon, TM. Have an absolutely amazing Sunday, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.